Hi, welcome to Three Questions with my friend Don McGee with us, the nutrition evangelist. Good afternoon, Don. How you doing?
I'm good, Kevin. Thanks so much for having me on.
So, Don, I may have a little bit of a weird question today. My question comes around to when do I look for a nutritional coach? A lot of us are out there doing our own thing, and we may have success in the short term, but then either we hit that plateau or life comes back at us, back to school season, and we fall back into the habits that we don't want to have. So when do I know, hey, it's time to go get someone to help me? Almost that accountability partner, if you will.
Sure. Well, it's a fascinating question. There are a lot of different ways to look at it, a couple of different ways to answer. I'll share a quick story with you. Your timing's really interesting because I got a call from a former client this morning and said to me, Don, haven't really been keeping up with the habits that we developed. What would it look like to work with you again, right? And the accountability is important. If you thought you had great habits and maybe they didn't quite work their way into your routine as firmly as you would have liked, that's a great time to pick back up with a coach. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? I mean, we may think we're doing all the right things, and maybe we want someone who's got a lot more expertise and hours invested to do that, right? Um, we were talking before about the example of baseball. You've got a kid that plays baseball. Maybe they're really great, maybe they're not so great. When do you invest in a coach for them? Maybe that makes it a little bit easier to think about using that example as opposed to nutrition. Because I think you're right. We all think, I got this. Don't worry. I can do this on my own, right?
I find that, some people can, at least in the short term, but it seems like where the issue really comes in is, you can't out-train your nutrition. Some people just don't understand how nutrition works. They're like, but I'm eating quote unquote healthy, but they're not seeing the results they want because, like, I was guilty of it. I was eating a fair amount of peanut butter. Now I'm like, okay, it feels like it's good, but when you look at like how many calories in this little thing of peanut butter, I was like, oh my God. And my wife's like, you take this heaping thing of peanut butter for your apple. I see what you're trying to do, but you're not catching how many calories are in that big piece of peanut butter you just put on your plate.
That's a great example, Kevin, right? Because there's healthy, right? We're not eating artificial sweeteners, we're not eating processed foods, but then there's balanced, right? So you've got the apple and you've got your peanut butter, which has some protein and a good amount of fat, but it's not really all that balanced. And from a protein, fat, and carbs perspective, so it doesn't serve you as well. Now, don't get me wrong. I love a good apple and peanut butter snack, but might not serve you quite as well as you would like it to, right?
But I think that goes back to what you've been preaching in every one of these videos is the balance.
Yes.
We're like, well, but Dawn, I had 100% protein breakfast. I had a, piece of steak for breakfast this morning, but I didn't have anything else. So you're like, well, it's all protein. That's a good way to start the day versus a sugary cereal. If you're going to make comparisons, maybe yes, but it's all about making sure protein, fats, and carbs in every meal.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my colleagues tells a great story. If you were to choose between an apple and a piece of pizza with chicken, which would you think would be better? And most people would probably say the apple, except that
Yeah,
the
I
pizza
kind of
with
knew it
the
was a trick question, so I would have went for the
right. You
because
didn't
of the
want to,
chicken. If you told me it was pepperoni, I would have chosen it still. But I mean, like, I can't think the apple's going to win this one.
you don't want to stick your neck out. I get it. But the pizza, while we don't think of that as traditionally healthy food, is more balanced. It's got
Yeah,
protein, it's got fat, it's got carbs. And is it your absolute best choice? Maybe not, but you know what? It's certainly not your worst choice.
yep,
And in the end, you should be able to balance however you want with the food that you love over the course of your meals.
yep. So, Don, what's the best way for people to reach out to if they need help trying to find that proverbial balance?
I would say head on over to my website, dawnmcgee.guru, Guru. and take a look at what I have to offer. If it resonates, let's have a conversation.
That sounds great. Don, I appreciate you taking a few minutes calling the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Thanks, Kevin.